This is the Jets 9 and Under Spiderweb competition hair. So I start off with the hair by sectioning off the middle piece in the front of the hair. I try to get the hair piece as even as possible. Depending on the thickness of their hair, this can be tricky. Once I get the amount of hair that I want for that first piece, I either start with a pink or green rubber band. It doesn't matter which one. After that, you'll alternate. I like to twist that first little piece of hair. I just feel like it helps it hold. That's a personal preference. The first row, I do the one in the middle and two on each side. If you have a child with a smaller head, you can do just 4 pieces in the front if you'd like, but I prefer 5. After I have that middle piece in, I go to either the right or the left. Again, a personal preference. For me, I started to the right. I section off the hair that's remaining. I try and make an even line with the other piece. I break that into 2. And since I started with green, my next hair tie will be pink. And I tie that piece off, and then I move on to the last little piece. And I will go back to a green hair tie, this making a pattern. Again, I use the little pick at the end of the comb to try and keep the hair as even as possible, so the line is as straight as possible. Once I've finished with the right side, I'm going to move over to the left side, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. Since I'm back next to the green in the middle, I will take a pink hair tie this time. And again, I'm using the end of that comb to keep my line as straight as possible, breaking the rest of that into half and going pink-green. Twisting those hair ties in. The pattern doesn't really matter as long as you go pink, green, pink, or green, pink, green. These are just little rubber bands from the kid craft section at Michael's. So I'm just securing that last rubber band in on the first row. I only do 2 rows, so I do 5 and then 4. So there is the first row of 5. So when I move on to the second row, I use the first row to kind of measure out the hair. I'll go ahead and split the middle one, kind of see where I want that second row to lay. After I've decided where I want that row to lay, I will flip those pieces of hair up, and I'll take the pick at the end of the comb and split the hair that I want for the second level, leaving it with a nice straight line. Then I'll take the remaining of the hair and just put it in a loose, low ponytail to keep it out of my way. And I'll start in on the second row. So since I'm doing 4, I'll take from the middle, I split that little ponytail in half. So you'll see here, I'm going to take half of that second ponytail on the right and half of the middle, and then I'll section off a piece of the hair that I've made for that second row. Again, using the pick to try and make those lines as even as possible. And because I have a green hair tie and a pink hair tie, it doesn't really matter. I can choose to go pink or green. In this case, I chose to go pink. And I tie those together. This is where I'm starting to create my spider web. Then when I go off to the next side in the middle, I'll take the other half of that middle and half of the pink ponytail on the side, section off, and do another. And then I take the other half of the front row pink with all of the front row green and what's left that I took out for my second row, and I'll rubber band those together. This is definitely much easier to do with her wet, newly conditioned hair. So I go back to the left side for my last piece there, and I take the half of the pink from the front row and all of the green from the front row and what I've picked out for the middle, and I rubber band that together. This making her 2 rows, spider web together. You could do a 3rd row if you're feeling adventurous. Being that we're usually in a hurry before competition, I stick to the 2 rows. So now you're going to take that rubber band out because you're going to pull all of the hair into a high ponytail. I was having a little bit of a difficulty getting her ponytail as high as I would have liked. It was very slippery from the conditioner. Nevertheless, I got it as high as I could. And I try and smooth out any lumps or bumps. So that it doesn't look messy. She has very thick hair, so I use at least 2, sometimes 3 hair ties to hold the ponytail up high. If they have thinner hair, that's not necessary. Once I get it up in that ponytail again, I brush it out, make sure it's nice and brushed. Then I'm going to go back to the comb, and I'm sectioning off a little piece to do a smaller braid. So I'm going to do several smaller braids. I believe tonight I chose to do about 10 smaller braids. If they have thinner hair, you might choose to do only 4 or 6. She has very, very thick hair, so in order to make the little braids look nice, I have to do more little braids than if she were to have thinner hair. At this point, you could fast forward the video. I do this for quite some time. Like I said, because I did multiple braids so that you could see the look of it. This is quite time consuming, and if you have an earlier gymnastics meet time, this might not be ideal, and at the end of the video I'll show you an alternate ending to the hairstyle if you need something for a quicker. But if you do have a thinner hair child, a few braids in their hair like this won't take as long. And this actually is the cuter ending to the hair. So here I'm just finishing up those little braids. Like I said, I did, I don't know, 10 or 12. So when I'm all done with that, I swoop them under. You could swoop them over, I guess. I like the look of it going under. And I take a hair tie again. I'm just trying to secure those in place. Here is the first hair tie. I can only get it around twice because of the amount of hair she has. So after I'm done with this first one, I do a second one before putting the bow on. I just kind of manipulate the braids a little bit. So you can see there's a little bit of hair sticking up at the end. I kind of get that down with our second hair tie, and anything left kind of up there, the bow will end up hiding. Miraculously tonight, I did not break any hair ties. So now I'm just putting that bow on, kind of fastening it in place. And then I go back and kind of fix those braids again. Now I'm just fixing the bow, and I'll put pomade over her spider web. This is because she plans on sleeping in it tonight. It also really helps with her flyaways. I know for some kids gel or just plain hairspray helps. With her, the pomade really helps her flyaways stay down for the day. So I just kind of smooth it in those little pieces of hair. Same thing you would do with gel or even like a finishing spray. I use both pomade and hairspray. And that's just to make it extra tight. So I put quite a bit of pomade in. Like I said, she's going to sleep in the spider web part of it tonight. So once I have everything where I want it, I just go ahead and spray it with some hairspray. So next, this is the alternate finish. Instead of all the little braids in the ponytail, I'll take the ponytail and make just one giant braid. You could also do like a fishtail braid here if you wanted to. And once I'm done with the braid, her hair is a little thick so it doesn't look as good. Once I'm done with the one single braid, I'll just tie it off with a hair tie, and then I just take it and wrap it around like a bun. And I secure it with hair ties and not bobby pins. And this is because the bobby pins dig into their head, and when they're doing somersaults and things like that, it would hurt even worse. So again, because she has thick hair, I secure with a couple different hair ties, and then I put the bow on top. Same thing, I would put pomade in and hairspray. And that is the alternate finish to that hairstyle. This one I use a little bit more when we're in a hurry and are going to be late to a competition.